Waiting for something or some force to show you the way. Welcome to Sync Floyd, the podcast where we watch every movie ever made to see if it syncs up with Pink Floyd's 1973 magnum opus, The Dark Side of the Moon. My name is Gareth Blackler, and joining me in this hive of villainy and scum in the galaxy, live and in person, kitty corner from me at a little wooden table, please welcome James Barron.
Hello, Gareth. I'm the fiercest bounty hunter in the galaxy, I'll have you know, and this is my domain that you've wandered in.
God, they do a lot of walking into people's where they live and just insulting them on this movie.
A lot of unbridled racism and hatred in the world of Star Wars. Episode 4. The first one. Everyone knows it, everyone loves it. A new hope.
Do you know it and love it? What is your story?
I do love it.
The Wars.
I do love Star Wars.
Good.
Star Wars is a good one. It's I've got a poster from the movie that we just watched over there.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would say that I'm a fan. I'm not one of the intense super fans these days.
You're not getting anyone kicked off Twitter?
No, I'm trying my best not to most days. I feel like it's one of those franchises that is ruined by its own fandom a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And it's just rife with scolding hot takes, especially after all of the the prequel trilogy and then just basically everything after the original trilogy.
Yeah.
But even then, with episode 6 coming out with the Ewoks, everyone hated that, and it's just so rife with hot takes and angry nerds.
Yeah. Because we're both 90s children. We were essentially raised not on Star Wars, but on Star Wars opinions. That's been something that's been in the air, probably more so than Star Wars. I knew Greedo shot first before I knew who Greedo was.
What is he shooting?
Yeah.
Greedo, what are you doing? Stop shooting.
I was definitely I don't know if I actually sat down and watched a Star Wars until I was in high school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but I just assumed I'd always seen them because you absorb so much through parodies, through just the culture. I definitely saw Spaceballs multiple times before I saw a full Star Wars movie.
Man, I feel like that really clearly illustrates the difference between you and I.
And shout out to Spaceballs.
Good movie, honestly.
Yeah.
Not bad. I first saw this flick when I was really young, probably I think 7 or 8. I watched it again on free-to-air television. It was aired on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and Boxing Day.
Oh.
Each of the 3 original trilogy movies coming out.
Yeah.
And it was great. That was a really cool way to watch it.
Yeah.
Just hanging around on those Christmas nights.
Yeah. Spend all day wondering what's going to happen next.
Yeah. It was very exciting. Because, I had no idea about it. And it was on TV and my parents were like, oh, it's Star Wars. You guys should watch this. You'll like it. And we were like, oh, cool. Okay. And yeah, it was great. It's very good. You can see why it's a mega hit.
Yeah.
After this movie came out, it was just holy crap, there's nothing better than this. It just does so much. There's so many cool things and it's such a realized world.
Yeah.
That it's this must have been completely mind-blowing going to see it at the cinema. There's just so much to unpack.
Yeah.
We're going to be locked in for hours.
Yeah, it's one of the many podcasts to talk about Star Wars. The thing is, knowing right now, someone else in the world is probably recording a podcast about this movie as well.
Probably, yeah, odds are.
Yeah.
Podcasts and Star Wars going hand in hand, definitely. But it's one that I would, I chose it last week because I just needed to know, and I would be remiss to miss this series.
Yeah,
I think from our canon of all movies ever made,
because we've talked about all the big sci-fis, really, Dune, 2001.
Yep.
Krull.
Yeah.
Dune again. Moon.
Moonfall.
Yeah. Independence Day.
Yeah. That's all the series. That's all they did, I think.
Yeah.
I can't think of another space movie off the top of my head. I'm
that's
going
all
to
of
be
them.
honest. That's all they did.
But speaking of other space movies,
Sure.
do you reckon, and everyone's got one, but no one truly knows until they say it out loud, do you reckon you've got a ranking of every Star Wars?
Oh, yes. I remember now that you told me to do this, and I'm now suddenly flooded with fear. Oh, man. Every Star Wars.
Do you want me to go first and you can figure it
Please.
out?
I'm just going to pull up. Do I have to rank all of the, like, extraneous extras or just, like, the
I want to hear
the
what you
9?
thought of Solo and Rogue One.
Hold on. Let me go Star Wars movies real quick.
So with Star Wars as a franchise is really fresh in my head because we're earlier this year, a friend of the show and girlfriend of me, Maddie
Girlfriend
Smith,
of the show?
yeah. She put out a call. She'd never seen a Star Wars movie and said to our friends, if someone donates $100 to the Cancer Society,
Wow.
she'll watch every single Star Wars movie with them.
Wow. With them.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. And like immediately our friend Jared donated $200.
Whoa, does she have to do it twice?
Oh, I hope so. So his rules were you have to watch them in the order it would have happened to the characters.
Okay.
So you're starting with Phantom Menace, you're working your way up to Rise of Skywalker.
Sure.
We watched the entire prequel trilogy in a day while eating junk food, all sitting on these big couches.
In one day?
Yeah, it was rough stuff because they're so serious and earnest and yeah, it was warm out and stuffy inside. And that slowed the whole process down. We've done Solo since then, and that's been it. So some things are fresh in my mind for a ranking, because I tried to rank them before I rewatched them, and then I was going to rank them after. So you're catching me in this midpoint.
Midway.
Yeah.
Sure.
But would you like to hear mine? Do you reckon you've
I would
got
love
yours?
to. I will say proviso that Solo technically takes place 10 years before A New Hope. So,
Yeah.
so you should be good, I think. If I like work it out, like you're still midway through.
Yeah.
So you're between Solo and Rogue One right now. Is the ranking currently. Okay.
So when I go home, I'm going to at some point have to watch Rogue One and then A New Hope again. Which, speaking of, actually... So James has very nicely hosted me in his house for this recording. Yep. I was an hour late because I was talking to my mum. And I show up and he's like, oh, great, cool. I've set up the table. We can just record. You know, I've got a big night ahead. And I was like, oh, did you watch the movie?
I did.
And I hadn't watched Star Wars synced with Pink Floyd's 1973 magnum opus, The Dark Side of the Moon. And James had to put it back on.
That was fine.
We watched it with his cell phone blasting the album three times. I've now lingered in his house for so long.
No, it's fine. You're a wonderful guest, Gareth.
Phil.
It's all good. You brought snacks, you brought food. It's all good.
I don't know if the listeners know this. I'm so bad at bringing snacks for a social occasion. I brought an oven pizza that at some point we have to cook, and now we haven't cooked yet.
Just on mic.
Yeah.
Just put it in the oven while I'm rambling.
Honestly, like... We've had, I think our only difference in this show, and we will rank Star Wars soon.
Okay.
Our only difference in this show is that I low-key keep trying to turn it into performance art. I'm like, oh, let's record this episode at KFC.
Yeah.
And James is like, no, let's make good audio. So I'm going to be really tempted now to cook a pizza live on air.
Wow. I don't know how that would play, but
man.
maybe we will. Maybe there'll be like an intermission period. Yeah. Okay. What's your ranking of Star Wars?
Okay. Coming in at the dead bottom, and I don't like to be negative, but it's the worst one, is 2019's Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, that's the correct choice.
Thank God.
For sure.
Oh my goodness. Like, make a bad movie and I'm fine, but disappoint me with a movie and you will lose me. Like, I'm currently in my Empire Strikes Back, end of Empire Strikes Back phase, and that I've lost my faith in Star Wars. I haven't checked out Book of Boba Fett. I've been too burned by this movie and what it did and just how much it disappointed me, especially on that last line. Just, She should have said just Rey again happily. It would have been a great callback. It would have shown you that you don't have to be part of two families in the entire galaxy to be special.
Ridiculous.
It's, not good.
It gets a not good out of 10.
Now, this surprised me when I did the rewatch, but my next least favorite is Attack of the Clones.
Yep. Reasonable choice. I definitely have that low as well.
And then Phantom Menace, which I have a lot of fond memories of as a child. Then Solo.
Okay.
And then, really surprised me with how much I enjoyed it at the end of my long, long day, was a bit of Revenge of the Sith.
Wow.
I found, I found it quite a thrill ride. But at that point, I'd only been eating sugar.
Oh, God. Okay. Right, yeah.
Bit of General Grievous.
Oh, yeah. It is a very I've only been eating sugar kind of movie, I will say. So
I have a headache and I want to watch other Jedis die. And then, where are we at? I think we've got to sneak in a bit of Rogue One.
Yeah.
This is when we're getting good. I really do like Rogue One. And
okay.
Then, and I'm so scared I'm going to miss one, then it's Return of the Jedi.
Okay, it's episode 6, yeah.
Yeah. And then it's The Last Jedi.
Whoa, that's a big call.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this could switch around with Empire Strikes Back as second favourite. And then coming in at number 1 is Star Wars Original.
Star Wars Original number 1?
Yeah.
Man.
That's my list. Did I forget a Star Wars? Holiday special? Because that might be second least favourite.
That's up near the top for me. I love the holiday special because it's so awful. But
I love that we've seen the holiday special together.
It's a good time.
Yeah.
Seek it out. I can't believe we haven't synced it. That's kind of wild.
Yeah. Well, it's also in chronological order, I think, it's the 8th Star Wars.
Right.
And Dark Side of the Moon is the 8th Pink Floyd album.
Wow.
So if we wanted to.
That'd be wild as your last choice. Holy shit. Okay. I like that ranking. I'm on board with that. I do have some upsets in comparison. Bottom of the barrel for me is definitely Rise of Skywalker at the bottom.
Yeah.
Then it's The Last Jedi. I really don't like The Last Jedi. I'm sorry. The casino planet where they free the racehorse. I hate that.
And the fact that whole mission goes nowhere. I loved that.
So pointless and so.
I actually in the theater was like, this isn't going anywhere. Yeah. I like this. Why do I like this?
Okay. And then probably we're into the prequel trilogy here. I think my least favorite's Attack of the Clones. Oh, yeah. And then Revenge of the Sith is similar in there. So episode 2 and 3 right next to each other, probably on the same tier. Then, oh man, it's getting harder now. It might be The Force Awakens now.
I forgot Force Awakens.
Yeah.
That's just above Rogue One.
Okay.
Yeah, for me.
Force Awakens pretty good, I think, is pretty fun.
Yeah, it's just the fact that Rise of Skywalker ruins it, really.
Yeah.
Everything because the whole point of Force Awakens is it's supposed to be
why it's at the bottom.
A great trailer for what's to come, and then by both of our points of view is they woof that.
Yeah,
they miss that basketball.
It's absolutely whiff it. So we've got Force Awakens there. Then probably Phantom Menace.
Nice.
I love Phantom Menace. I think it's very watchable because it's so off the rails.
Yeah, I was very tempted to put it higher.
It's just very silly. All the Gungan stuff I fucking love. It's got pod racing, which is great. Oh man, that movie, I can't believe it. Then it's probably Solo. I liked this one as well, legitimately. Solo and Rogue One are probably right next to each other right here, and I really like them both. Rogue One especially is probably the best of the spin-offs that they've done, I think. It's got great characters. It's a fun heist vibe.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
really bleak at the end.
Yeah, it's real dark. It's cool.
Yeah.
Now I've only got the original trilogy, which are my top 3. and they go Return of the Jedi, and then A New Hope, and then Empire Strikes Back #1.
Yeah.
Has to be.
You're a gloomier boy than I.
I am. I've got a dark, cold heart, and I just love to see drama.
Yeah.
I'm your father. Just need to
Yeah.
know. Yeah, it's great. It's a good series. But yeah, it's got ups and downs. But you know, that's the ranking. Definitely write in with your rankings.
Yeah, please.
Syncfluidpod@gmail.com.
Because everyone's got one.
Yeah. We would love to see it. We'll do an average of the graphs. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Probably will. Knowing us.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's the story. No, we need to talk about the sync of the film.
Yes.
Because we just did that.
Yeah.
I've done it twice. So I'm rearing to go. I'm ready.
Oh, there was so much pressure. I'm a little nervous. That,
What?
I feel like if there was a good sync, you probably looked over to see, oh, Gareth didn't write that down. What's going on here?
No, but that's fine. Like, different people catch different stuff. I don't think... I feel like we'll be fine. I'm not worried.
No.
No.
I mean, if things go really dire, we're just going to make a pizza.
Just abandon the podcast and make a pizza, and then the rest of the show is just us munching away.
Oh.
I quite like that, actually. Maybe we'll do that. We'll see how this goes. Let's do it. Opening titles, etc. Speak to Me, Fox, 20th Century, Lucasfilm. What do you think of the Lucasfilm logo? I think it's like kind of weird and arcane looking.
Yeah, it was really cool to see it over silence.
Yeah. Because we just get the heartbeats. Yeah, obviously.
That's cool. It's like, I like the fonts. I like that it's made of water and glass or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks like a bottom of a sea anemone pool.
Yeah.
Or something.
I think it's probably comes from being so excited for the sequel trilogy that to see the Lucasfilm logo and probably to see it again with a different sound being Pink Floyd was quite like, you immediately just feel excited. You're like, what is this going to be?
Yeah.
And
I think
ready to be disappointed.
I think in the original cut, it was just launched straight into the Star Wars font. I don't think it had any opening titles originally.
No, I don't think. I don't think Lucasfilm was even a thing.
Wasn't a thing. Yeah.
It is also worth noting we watched the special edition.
Or did we?
The version available on Disney Plus with the CGI.
The modern edition of the film with, all of George Lucas's favorite editions.
Yeah.
Vital to telling the story.
Well, like, if you're going to do anything, if you're going to revisit your film 20 years on, add a bunch of CGI to change the pacing completely, there's only one reason you're going to do it, and that's to help it sync with Pink Floyd. So we've got to honor that.
Yeah. He's come back and he's like, it doesn't quite sync, and so I need to work on it a little more. I need to add some stuff in the background, some stuff in the foreground. It'll all make sense, guys.
Yeah. An extended Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah. Oh, we'll get to him.
Yes.
And his extended body. Yes, it's a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, Gareth, and we get the opening crawl of this movie, the classic Star Wars intro, where it like fucking yells at you, but we don't get that. We just get the smooth sounds of "Speak to Me" and "To Breathe" coming in, and it's just like telling us a bit of info. Lots of like lore dropped at the start of this movie, like. Which isn't... I feel like it would go over the head of the audience completely, and then they'd just be like, oh, we're on a ship? What who? I definitely didn't read it the first time I watched.
I barely know what it's saying now. I know there's a civil war.
Yep. And it is a time of war.
Yeah.
And the Empire are fighting the rebels, flushing them out, etc. Basically.
Yeah, it's interesting. George Lucas watched an original cut with his director friends, Steven Spielberg, I think Francis Ford Coppola, and Brian De Palma. And it was De Palma who was like, bro, you've got to cut down that crawl. Because originally it was like, there's a civil war in the galaxy. Blurp-de-blurp, his fault, blurp-de-blurp, for the crown of the silver ancient ones.
Whoa.
And like, he was just like, first off, just say Civil War. We know we're in space.
Yeah.
Next, cut most of this.
You've just said Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's not Star Civil Wars.
No.
You know, like, we don't need that much extra information. I think it's just enough. It's like 3 paragraphs and it's fine. It does feel very booky.
Yeah.
Like,
it's also my hot take on Star Wars. That's hard to read.
Yeah, definitely.
It's being like pulled on an interesting angle. You all know what it looks like.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Just drifting off into space. I think it's a nice effect, but like,
if they got me in for a prequel film, there would definitely be a scene where they're like hanging out on a spaceship and you see an opening titles go by, like from a different film.
just zooming along. That's how they send texts in outer space. They're just like by opening crawls. Every time you get a text message, just no.
There's like this extended scene where they have to go to the planet that writes those, and it's and like George Lucas is there.
I'm just working on a text for my friend across the galaxy. It's my George Lucas.
That's very good.
Anyway. Yes, we're in space. There's a little ship being chased by a big ship that looks like a big Dorito. It's coming in, shooting lasers at the little guy. And yeah, it comes in on cue with each of the ships come in on cue with Breathe, which is kind of terrifying.
Ooh,
like
yeah.
the like different notes in that intro just before the verse starts up. It's like each of them we have like a chord or something, and then these ships appear, which is nice. Both of them. And then interior of the ship, there's like funny helmet dudes running around with R2-D2 and C-3PO, the droid boys.
Yeah. You know them.
Yeah, the robo buddies out in space. We love them.
Who's your favorite?
R2.
Oh.
Obviously.
Oh. See, I think R2 is clearly saying some nasty stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's why he's my favorite. He's like having to be censored by only speaking his little robot bleep language. Which was fully subtitled for our watch, by the way. It was fucking great.
Whistles, beeps, beeps.
Yeah.
Whistles.
My favorite was beeps sadly. Oh, amazing. Very good.
I found this watch, I really vibed with 3PO. Like, it's something about him.
Wow. I think that's our energy on the show as well. I think you're clearly the 3PO and I'm the R2, the little foul-mouthed robot that you're always taking care of, getting you in trouble.
Yeah, I'm just worried about protocol.
That is our energy, I think. I think that's always been the case. Anyway, moving swiftly on before we psychoanalyze too far. The door of the ship gets breached by the stormtroopers. Guys in all white armor looking very silly. The stormtroopers are like terrifying design-wise, but I think they're like... they're brought down by looking a bit too much like a fridge, I think. Like, they're fun. But... I don't know. It's something about that, like, clearly plastic armor just is so strange.
You can just look at them and hear that, like, knocking noise.
Yeah, the little clickety-clack of them coming down the hall, you know. That's why most of the time they're just standing around, I think. Or firing their guns, just to mask the sound of them, their armor clacking.
Click, 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 click,
Yeah. Not as funny looking as these funny helmet guys though.
No.
Just like regular dudes in like khakis getting shot by lasers. Very good. I like the rebel look. They can't afford all this armor.
Nah. They've just got to protect the backs of their heads a lot.
Very much so. They look kind of like bicycle helmets for like the Olympics.
Yeah.
Like,
So aerodynamic.
with the long tail. Yeah, it makes them go faster in space. But yeah, also coming aboard, we've got our, as we go into On the Run kicking in, we've got our boy Lord Vader himself. James Earl Jones doing the voice.
Yeah. A bodybuilder doing the body.
Doing the build of the body. Yeah. He's a tall boy. Very imposing with a cape.
Yeah. It's all of these characters that's so hard to, I don't know, like riff about because they're so ingrained in our DNA.
So well known, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I reckon you could tell a 4-year-old Darth Vader and they'll know what you mean. Yeah.
You know, get in his essence, you know. It's a shame that we didn't have the voice, I will say. That is like a major loss for this watch of the movie. Because his voice is just so impressive and intense and clearly like brooding and yeah, it's great. He's got it just adds so much to his presence. In this watch, he's like since he's muted, he's just sort of standing around like and you notice like his lack of movement a lot more in the movie, I think.
And because he's always hanging out with just old men in like grey, he looks way sillier.
Yeah.
Which I kind of loved. Like, It was a little experiment I was kind of doing throughout the watch, was try to disconnect all the other Star Wars movies from this watch. Mm-hmm. And like just try to take it in, like, what is this guy exclusively in this movie? And you definitely get the idea, like, they mock him for his Force religion.
Yeah.
Like, you definitely get the idea that he's like some weird zealot.
He's a weirdo, yeah.
Yeah, in his little outfit, who they keep around because he's so powerful.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really cool energy, because like later on, he's just the unquestioned leader.
Mm-hmm. He gets a lot more scary in Empire. I think they realized that like he came across as a little goofy in this one, and they amped up the terror for the following movie. But in this one, he's just sort of standing around in meetings, sticking out like a sore thumb.
Imagine this guy just at your weekly like Monday morning stand up, like breathing away.
Could you please sit down? It's like, I can't. My legs don't work.
Yeah, I believe too much in this company.
Yes, I find your lack of faith disturbing. He's like coming through, and the R2 gets given like a little secret disc by the princess. We don't know who she is yet, but it's Princess Leia.
Yeah. Also made a strong play to be my favorite character this watch.
100%. Yeah. Big fan. Yeah. Carrie Fisher crushing it.
Yeah.
Looking great with she's got the big cinnamon rolls.
Yeah.
Gotta love her.
Oh, what a look. She hated those.
Yeah. Who wouldn't? It'd be really annoying. But
I think everyone's quite hindered except for Han Solo by their outfits.
That's got to be a Harrison Ford move as well. Being like, you are not getting me in anything other than a vest. Like,
well, I think the original idea was he'd be a green alien, and probably started painting Harrison Ford.
And he's like, nope, I will walk.
Yeah,
George, gosh,
he just repainted over himself skin color.
Damn, good work, good makeup. But yeah, they get the secret message and rush off. Old Vader comes through and like chokes a guy out, interrogating them, which is like plays super different if you've seen Rogue One.
Yeah,
because everyone on the ship is fucking lying through their teeth about what they're doing. Yeah, which is really funny in retrospect. They're coming in and they're like, nah, like cold as ice. We're on a diplomatic mission. We don't know anything. We don't know what you're talking about, man. It's so good. And he's just like, get out of here. Terrifying. Leia gets captured and the droids blast off in a little pod on their secret mission, like just before the On the Run crash.
Yeah.
Like it's like, I think, no, actually just after. They jump in like, the crash aligns with just 3PO getting in the pod or something, and it's like, oh, okay. It's out by about like 10 seconds or something.
Yeah, get used to that feeling.
And they blast off. The Empire don't shoot them down, is because there's no life signs on that pod. It's an empty pod. Must be a malfunction. And it goes off to the planet's surface of Tatooine. Leia comes, is brought before Vader and tries to like keep this ruse going, cold as ice as well. She's like, I don't know what you're talking about. There's no plans here. It's so good. And he sees through her immediately. He's like, you're a part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor. And she's like, take her away. It's great. And they cotton on that there's something to do. They go down to the planet's surface looking for this pod, because clearly she had the plans on board the pod. There you go. And we go down to the planet's surface over time coming in. Clocks and stuff happen like over that conversation, drowning it out, terrifying me. It's down on the desert dunes with the boys, the droid boys, droideckers, doing a lot of 3PO, doing a lot of complaining, like his most complaining, I think, in the whole movie. He's a big drama queen.
Love him for it. He's me on a holiday, really. Like 20 minutes into a hike.
Brought the wrong shoes. Yeah. Like, I'm not built for this. Just a good burn.
I think you've been on 2 hikes with me where I've clearly bought the wrong shoes. Yeah. One was a surprise. The other one, I should not have worn white Chuck Taylors.
Yeah, well, so it goes. I'm a little R2 bot. Like, I just roll on anything. My little wheels, they just work. I don't know.
Yeah,
much
he
easier.
edited out all the scenes of you using the stairs.
Hitting the stairs. I'm pretty sure R2 would just like fucking go down them like a champ, straight down the stairs. Tin
Just
can.
roll down.
Yeah. Tucks and rolls immediately. He'd be fine. He's built. Built solid.
He is solid.
Yeah.
Gotta say.
So they split off in separate directions after a bit of an argument, a one-sided argument.
Yeah.
They each get captured by Jawas. C-3PO getting captured off screen. He sees like this big sand crawler in the distance, like a big shoe wedge up on the top of a dune. And he's in front of like a big like dead brontosaurus or something, which is
I
great.
like that. I'd never noticed that before.
Yeah. Just a big creature.
That's kind of the first alien thing you see in the franchise as well.
Actually, that's true. It's all been like regular people so far. Although, like, probably seeing Darth Vader, you might be like, I don't know what that guy is.
Yeah,
What's his
that's a good
deal?
point. Yeah.
You know. And yes, then they get captured by some alive aliens. Yeah, the Jawas, who are like little dudes, little guys in little brown hoodies.
Yeah.
With glowing eyes. I love the Jawas. I want to be a Jawa, if possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has it ever explained, like, I assume you're a little more aware of the legends, the extended universe.
The Jawa lore.
What do Jawas look like under those hoods? I gotta know.
I don't think anyone knows. I think they're just like, they're little creatures with glowing eyes or something. And nobody knows what they look like because they never take their little hoods off.
Oh, yeah.
That's just their whole deal. I'd like to think that it's just like the Black Mage in Final Fantasy. Like, they're just like a little, like, completely black circle head with the just like glowing eyes, and that's it. There's no further information at all. Just hidden under there, which is probably like what the costume is. But
I like to think they're just two floating red orbs.
Whoa.
That, like, have just enough kind of force around them to make a shape of a little dude.
That's great. I like that a lot.
They're not eyes at all. They're like two Jawas hanging out.
Oh man, two friends in each one. That's good.
The beauty of Star Wars is that we're both wrong, and there is an answer, and it'll be on Wikipedia.
Yep.
There's an amazing,
Like
my
a
favorite
bird
scene in
or something.
Solo is there's a singing fish.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he sings in a beautiful low voice. And I laughed so hard. I think we had to everyone looked at me and couldn't believe I was still laughing. But I looked him up, and he's got a full backstory. Of
course
he
does.
was a big singer in the prequel days, and then in the Solo days, he's now fallen on hard times.
Oh no.
Has to sing for what's his name?
Sing for his supper.
Darth Maul's buddies.
Oh no.
Spoiler.
The worst. Oh my gosh. I love
Shout
that.
out to that fish.
Shout out to that fish. Shout out to the Jawas. I want to join your ranks.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're just like desert scavenger dudes. I like how enterprising these little guys are. They've got their own little language. They're great. They're cute. And yeah, they pick up these guys. R2 gets sucked up a big tube, which is great. I used to think there was these big ventilator tubes remind me heavily of local New Zealand supermarket Pack and Save.
Oh yeah.
There's these big air ducts that appear and directly above the checkouts in Pack and Save to warm up the people in the checkouts. If you remember, do you recall this?
Yeah.
I'm not making this up.
Pack and Save's whole deal is it's supposed to look cheap. So it's a very unfurnished warehouse. Everything's still in its cardboard boxes usually. And yeah, obviously if you were there for 8 hours a day, you'd
get really cold because it's just basically a warehouse. So yeah, they've got these big tubes. And I always thought as a little kid after seeing Star Wars that they would get sucked up like R2-D2 at the end of the day, at the end of their shift. They'd just go straight up the tube into the staff room.
Yes.
So yeah. That's my story.
Yeah, no, that's canon. That's the truth is now real life legends, and that's canon.
Sweet.
The worst part of doing a big Star Wars rewatch is having to explain the concept of canon to someone. I didn't realize that's a term us podcast hosts use all the time.
It's something I say a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just It's true. It's basically what it means.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't know.
That's true. I like that so much. I'm declaring that is true forever.
Yeah, true in all of history.
Yeah.
Yeah, it basically is what we mean by that. Man, I can't believe we explained something that isn't Star Wars on that. Yes, anyway, they go on inside this sand crawler, and there's like a bunch of like destroyed droids, salvage droids. There's a terrifying clown robot with no legs. What is going on with
baby doll face?
Oh, get him out of here. Thankfully, no one buys that. It just stays on this sand crawler, unsalvageable even by Jawas.
Yeah.
And yeah, they go off to sell these friends because they get reunited aboard the little sand crawler, R2 and 3PO. And then, yeah, they get shown off to a couple characters, Luke and his uncle.
Yeah.
And aunt, who is also here.
Yeah, down a hole, but she's there.
Yeah. What's her name? It's like Uncle Owen and Aunt
Bootha?
Bootha. I hope it's that. I don't think it is. But anyway, yeah. She doesn't get a lot of lines. It's fine.
And
We
in
love
the
them both.
prequels, she's played by someone who went on to join the Nixium cult.
Whoa.
Which is very interesting. Been later unjoined and is now going to be, like, spoke out against it as well.
Unjoined.
Yeah. And is now going to be in the Obi-Wan series, which is probably dropped by the time this episode comes out.
Sweet.
So, yeah. That's a whole fun backstory to enjoy while she's in it.
Exciting. I can't wait to cover that. The uncle comes out and buys 3PO, and after like a bit of haggling, and the red variant of R2, the little R2 droid, which explodes before he can even get it home.
Yeah. Is he sabotaged?
I don't think so.
Wow.
It could have been like R2 doing a quick like rejig of this guy standing next to him, but I think it's just like a bad droid.
Yeah.
You know, it's got his like moderator or whatever is fried.
It's his moderator.
I
yeah.
can't remember what they say, but yeah.
It's interesting. It's like literally a god out of the machine, like Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
But thankfully, yes, they swap it for Blue R2, the one we know and love. And they're still together, still friends as we are heading into money. We've had like a sad time with Great Gig over this like Jawa capture sequence.
Yeah.
Which is quite funny. And not really a sync. And now Luke is just hanging out with we get to know Luke here. He's hanging out with the droids, doing a bit of cleaning them up. 3PO has like an oil bath or something, and he's just like having a conversation while he's like neck deep in oil, which is very funny. And yeah, we get a bit of information. 3PO says that they were part of the rebellion before coming here.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh, there's not much to tell really, even though like there's the whole prequel saga that they're heavily involved in. But yeah, it's just like, yeah, it's not like my job's to be a storyteller or anything or to talk to people. No, never mind. 3PO would be a podcaster as well, I think. Like that's like he would have his own wee show, which he's just like got beef with something every week that he's bringing up.
Oh, it'd be like etiquette and yeah. Mm-hmm. It'd just be like ranting. It'd be one of those solo podcasts.
Oh, wow.
Not one of those podcasts about Han Solo.
Oh, right.
But one of those podcasts that the host is just alone in their studio, just going at it.
Just
He's wearing a
angry.
backwards cap.
Yeah.
Now, the thing about these Democrats is...
Wow.
3PO, no!
Would be super political as well. Gosh,
Yeah.
3PO.
The end of Revenge of the Sith is like, erase this droid's memory and delete his podcast.
No! Got him. Roasted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's why he doesn't tell the story, because he can't remember it. He's had his mind wiped. But yeah, he's like, oh yeah, I guess I'm part of the rebellion. While trying to clean up R2, Luke activates like a little recorded hologram of Princess Leia, giving this message. Just help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope, on repeat, basically. And he's immediately captivated by this tiny woman. He falls in love like that.
Yeah. Even says, like, I never noticed, he's like, she's beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They play it up a lot, especially I think, it's up until he finds out, obviously, and he's like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, do I spoil Empire? I guess I do.
They're
Brother and sister.
Yeah.
It's it's kind of weird that they get shipped so hard in this movie. They set up a whole rivalry between Luke and Han as to who gets to go with the princess, you know? It's very weird.
It was definitely undecided at that point because there's like post Star Wars interviews with George and Carrie and Mark Hamill and stuff, and they're all just like, yeah, we don't know who she's going to end up with. It's pretty exciting. Will she go for the bad boy or the good boy?
Chewie.
Yeah. Oh, if I
Imagine. The biggest boy.
Yeah. I mean, he's got a wife. We know that.
Oh, yes, that's right. Never mind.
Bad husband.
I forgot all about that.
Oh, man.
Oh, God. Yes. So he's like, Obi-Wan Kenobi. I wonder if she means old Ben Kenobi. That sounds similar. He's this old crazy wizard hermit who lives out in the spice mines.
Yeah, making his own podcast.
Yeah, 100%. I can't wait for his series just to be him in a cave forever. Like, no adventures at all. It's just him, like, it's the Fly episode of Breaking Bad, but that's the whole show.
That's actually sounding like a Star Wars for me at last. Like, just Ben Kenobi sitting alone, drinking blue milk.
Oh, yeah. Ugh, gross. But yes, this is a private message that R2 is playing and can't play the rest of it until it gets to old Ben. And yeah, Luke's like, I'll remove this little security bolt thingy from you so that you can keep playing this message because it's holding it back. But this is a sweet juke by R2 to get free. I think these are like little security tag things that will like sound an alarm or something if they leave the area. I don't know what the deal
like
is.
at the mall.
Yeah, 3PO has one as well, but it gets taken off shortly before they go try and rescue R2. So yeah, he's got one just as a singular nipple on himself, which is quite good. But yeah, he shuts off the recording being like, gotcha, get dunked.
Yeah.
I'm R2. And yeah, Luke gets called away to see his aunt and uncle who are having like some soup and some really gross looking blue milk.
Yeah, it's like if you made a smoothie and you want to put blueberries in, but you have one blueberry for the whole family.
Oh no, it's just like, just milk and like the essence of blue.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks gross.
Yeah.
I do love that it is that is canon to the Star Wars franchise because they bring it back like in the episode 8.
Oh yeah.
Luke's like drinking it on that planet that he's on, just supping from the teat of the animal or whatever.
Right.
And it's the blue milk. It's from his homeland.
You can get the blue milk at Disneyland as well, I think.
Okay.
Okay, you're going to go.
I don't want to.
Yeah.
I'm not going for the blue milk. I'm glad.
You're going to give Goofy a ham or a turkey or something.
What?
Oh man, that was one of our own in-jokes.
I don't remember that. There's Goofy's bread, which is a secret menu item that you can get at Disney World. If you ask for it, it's Goofy's. It's like badly made bread with like a bunch of different stuff in it.
That sounds amazing.
Because Goofy's like bad at making bread or whatever. He's Goofy.
Yeah.
But yeah, Goofy's bread.
Wow.
That's the secret Disney tech.
Wow. Oh, now I've got to go get that. Exchange it for his turkey leg.
Oh my gosh, please. Oh yeah, now I remember. Yeah, he does have turkey legs. What's going on there? Anyway, yes.
I don't know if you did remember, but very polite.
No. I do remember. Yeah. So his uncle tries to like play coy about this Obi-Wan stuff. He's like, yes, he knew your father and he died around that same time. And Luke's like, he knew my father? And he's like, damn it, I shouldn't have seen anything. Full Hagrid moment. And then, they're basically like trying to keep him safe, locked up into this farm life. And yeah, his aunt's like, there's too much of his father in him. You can't keep him locked here forever. And he's like, that's what I'm worried about. That's good. And yeah, that happens right as we finish Money and go into Us and Them. So Us and Them for this next sequence, the binary sunset coming through. Is that right?
Yeah, the two sons.
Yeah.
And it synced quite well. Sad organs, sad boy, sad sons.
Sad sons, yeah. Ending the day, the desert day. Explains why it's so like deserty, because there's two sons.
Yeah.
And yeah, later on, Luke discovers that R2 is like run off in the night, babbling about his mission, just doing his thing. But they have to wait until the following morning to go and get him because there's sand people out. The bloody sand people of the night. What are they like? Yeah, so Luke goes the following morning in his like land speeder thing, which looks fun as hell.
Yeah.
I would be driving these like all the time. Like Luke can't complain that much about being stuck on this desert planet because he gets to cruise around in this land speeder all the time.
Yeah, I feel like there were scenes originally which just showed him like speeding around and having fun with Biggs.
Yeah.
And like they all got cut because I think again Brian De Palma was like, what is this? You're cutting from the action on the space station to a boy speeding around in a car.
Kind of fair, honestly. Yeah. I feel like it would have slowed things down. It would have introduced Biggs a lot earlier, which is probably good. Because Biggs is just like a guy that we're supposed to know later, which is fun. He is mentioned, I think, early on.
Yeah.
But like, I don't think... it's just a random character that we don't have time to fall in love with.
But we do.
Yes.
Stash.
Yeah. So there are indeed sand people out here, Tuscan Raiders, as they are known. These guys with like big, they're all wrapped up and they've got like little tubes sticking out of their face. They've got a good vibe. And they, ride on the backs of banthas, these big yak guys who are so slow.
Must hate being on a desert.
Yeah, why are they riding them when they could get a land... I guess this is why they like try and boost Luke's land speeder when they get it. Try to say that 3 times fast. Holy hell.
The Banthas are the ones that like sabotaged the mission and called Obi-Wan because they were like, no, you can't go fast. You gotta hang out with us.
Let's hang with the Banthas. Luke gets like attacked by these guys while he's looking at the Banthas. And R2 like watches and hides in a little spot in the cliff face, looking all cute. And the fucking Tuscan Raiders start like tearing apart the land speeder, just like pulling things out of the trunk, which is pretty funny. They're like, I don't need any of this.
Yeah.
They're probably like salvaging it for parts, actually. I don't really know. But yes, they take off when suddenly a cloaked figure appears and screeches at them. And he comes over and it's Alec Guinness doing the screeching as Obi-Wan. His only performance, because he's this and then like later on in, not Empire, the following one, Return of the Jedi.
Just as a
ghost.
Right? Yeah. Next to Hayden Christensen.
Yeah, the weirdest pairing. I
was about to say, do you reckon they got along, but they just never met. You know it.
The ghost rules of Star Wars implies that when you like die, it like chooses the moment of your death to capture your ghost form. So like, I think like, I don't know, maybe it's like when your spirit dies, because Anakin's like his young self.
Yeah.
But Obi-Wan's his old form instead of his like young hot form. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe you choose. I've often wondered that about heaven, James.
Yeah.
Do you reckon you'd get to just be whatever version of yourself you are, or like?
I would hope so.
Yeah.
And like, surely there's a form you can fill in and be like, you gotta choose. Maybe you can change at any time. You can just be any age, like
maybe
at any point.
That for Force ghosts as well.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Oh man, I'll just be a Force
I'm not
baby.
dead, so can't tell you.
For those of you listening and worrying, he's still not dead.
I am corporeal.
Don't die before we release this episode.
Okay. So many plans. Yes. Obi-Wan does say, like, to Luke when he's, like, waking him up here using the Force, he says, you've had a busy day, which is a line in the song that we're in. So that's cool. It's not at this time. He doesn't say it at the same time. So it's not a sync, but it is a thing that happens on Thing Floyd. And yeah, they talk about R2 searching for his former master, Obi-Wan. Who could that be? Do you know him, old Ben? And he's like, Obi-Wan. Now that's a name I haven't heard in a long time. And that's something I say all the time as well. And yeah, it's him. Of course I know him. He's me.
Yeah, I love that was pretty much the line.
Yeah.
I know him, he's me.
Yeah. Good stuff. And yes, they've got to get out of there because the sand people will be back in greater numbers, as they always are. There's so many more of them, those sand people, lurking in the sand. As many grains of sand there are, as many sand people.
Whoa. Under their, baggage, they're just little grains.
Little grains.
Oh.
The ancient grains.
They all desire to be bred.
Don't we
Goofy's bread.
Goofy's bread. Oh my god. I can't believe I brought up Goofy's bread. 3PO had his arm torn off. I think just by tumbling backwards off a cliff.
Yeah.
Like his arm gets crushed or something. And is being very overly dramatic, being like, go on without me. Just leave me here to die. I'll weigh you down.
The first of many losing in arms.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was the first to do it.
Yeah.
He's like, gotcha. Now I'm starting a trend. 3PO.
Yeah.
3PO's curse.
Take the 3PO challenge. Lose an arm on TikTok.
Yeah, the classic. Oh my god. And don't complain about it.
Yeah.
Just get a new robot arm. Like 3PO does.
Yeah, immediately.
Yeah. Works for him.
Yeah.
In Obi-Wan's little hovel, they're hanging out, and we get reference to Luke's father again in the Clone Wars episode 2. And Obi-Wan was once a Jedi Knight, and gives Luke a cool magic sword.
Yeah.
Lightsaber.
Heard of it.
I've heard of it. It's a saber made of light.
Oh yeah.
He's like, I was told not to give you this because it's a dangerous magic sword and you'll come with me on one of my adventures. And then cut to 3 minutes later where he's like, come with me on one of my adventures. Pretty good. We get a little bit of pre-Empire history with the Jedi Knights being guardians of the Old Republic. And until an attack by the Empire and the rise of Darth Vader, who was a pupil of Obi-Wan's who turned to evil.
Yeah.
Quote unquote. I hoped he said who turned evil. No, turned to evil.
Yeah.
He was seduced by the dark side of the Force, much like we've been seduced by the dark side of the moon.
We locked eyes for that. That was amazing.
Space magic, basically, the Force.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. It's
Midichlorians.
Yeah, sure. Everyone's favorite explanation. This is the one beef that I have with Star Wars, is that so much of these early movies is not explained. It's throws you in and it expects you to keep up, There's here's all these crazy aliens and all this stuff. And then it's in the prequel movies especially, but they continue on and they just fucking delve in, and there's long stories explaining all of this stuff, and I don't need that. I just show me more cool stuff. I don't need to know why it's there, or what it means, or what science is behind it. I don't know. Oh, we've got a special guest appearing on the podcast. It's Alex Barron. Hello.
Hello.
We're recording. How are you? You're live on Sync Floyd.
Just take a seat. You heard of Star Wars or Pink Floyd?
I've heard of Star Wars and Pink Floyd, would you believe?
Oh.
Yeah. Do you want to join the episode, or do you want to hang out? Or
Which Star Wars is it?
the first one? Episode 4.
Episode 4.
Yeah.
Right. I think I'll leave it to the expert.
Okay.
Alright.
Well, nice hearing from you.
I'm going to put you as featured, in the title.
Featured.
Yeah, you're our special guest, whether you want to or not. We'll give you a release form after the show.
Alright. Sounds good.
Alrighty.
Do you have anything to plug?
No.
Stay safe.
Wash your hands. That's my plug.
That's a great plug. There you go. You heard it here first, listeners. Oh god, where am I now? Dark side of the moon, dark side of the Force. We go into any color you like.
Yeah.
Yes, and we get the full message from the Princess Leia. Her father begs Obi-Wan to come and help in the struggle against the Empire, etc., etc. R2 has like some very important information in him, and that'll help the rebels in their fight, and they've got to deliver him safely to Alderaan, which is Leia's home planet. That's the gist. And Obi-Wan's like, well, Luke, you better come with me on this fun adventure. And Luke's like, no, I can't. I've got so much boring farm work to do. I'm farming moisture, by the way, on a desert planet, like the dumbest possible thing to be farming. I guess like it's cheaper than getting it off world or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I think the idea is that they like drill deep into the planet core and get water from down there or something, because there's no water on the surface at all.
That'd be why Aunt Bootha's in a hole.
I'm glad we found out.
Yeah.
Bloody Aunt Bootha. You stay in the hole. So yeah, he's like, fine, I'll take you as far as Mos Eisley, and then you can go from there, because that's where you hire pilots. It's what you do in Mos Eisley. From here, we cut to a Star Destroyer coming in, the big Pringle ship. Not Pringles, no. Doritos, I said earlier. The big triangular boys heading towards the Death Star. Pringles would be much weirder. Like a big disc.
Yeah, with that slight dip in it.
Yeah. Show me that ship.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's like bang on a cut here as we go into Brain Damage and start talking with the Empire boys, which is good. Arguing about the threat of the rebels, and like one guy really hyped to use the space station that they're on. He's like, I think he's the captain of the Death Star.
Oh yeah.
And he's like obsessed with he's got the like finger on the button of the biggest gun in the world, and he can't wait to press it like the whole time. It's really funny. Not even Vader's gonna stand in his way. We also have Grand Moff Tarkin coming in, who's like the best cast person ever. He looks like a skull with just skin over top of it, like no
Those cheekbones.
Yeah, he is a terrifying looking man, and like a really good representation of the Empire. Like to be the human face of the Empire, as opposed to like Vader, who wears the big mask. You know, like I think he's a great choice.
Yeah,
Clearly
sure.
evil looking. You know, yeah, I love him. And he's got a great name.
Yeah, it's just fun to say.
Yeah, Grand Moff Tarkin. What a guy.
Oh, next time I stub my toe, I'm saying Grand Moff Tarkin.
I think Grand Moff is like a title, but like I hope it's just Grand, and his first name and last name are Moff Tarkin, but I don't think that's true.
I hope his name is Grand Moff, and then his like honorary is Tarkin, like comma PhD, comma Tarkin.
First name Grand,
Yeah,
pretty good. I could see that these days. Anyway. Yes, he comes in and says that the Senate is dissolved, and so there's nothing standing in the way of the Empire. Effectively, they're the ruling class of the galaxy now. Before there was like a diplomatic like council of planets, effectively, in star systems, but that's now been dissolved. You get a lot more of that in the prequel trilogy.
Oh, you bet.
But they disband it right at the top of this movie, being like, no, we don't have the budget for that kind of thing. We're gonna just have the Empire and the rebels, and that's it. That's all you need.
Yeah, it's all you need, George.
It's because he set them up here. He's like, oh, now I need council meetings forever. But yeah, Grand Moff says, Mr. Grand Moff says that fear will keep the local systems in line, in case you didn't realize these guys were the baddies. The guy gets really hyped about the Death Star, and Vader like force chokes him from across the room. Pretty good. Later on, I think in the next movie, he chokes someone through a television, which is hilarious.
Yes, that's right.
Just like across space, like is choking someone out, which is very impressive. It's a shame he doesn't do it more. But yeah, he like holds this guy captive because he starts criticizing the Force and the Jedi, because effectively Vader, as we said, is the last of this line of Jedi.
Yeah.
They've been all wiped out in a big cleansing that happened.
By him.
Yeah. What a bad dude. And And yeah, they are going to find this rebel base and wipe them all out in one go. That's the plan. Bloody lunatics all, as we are in brain damage. And yeah, it looks like that sand people have attacked the Jawas as we are like moving towards Mos Eisley now in the land speeder. But it's actually the Empire doing a clever like set dressing ruse or something. It's like, nah, these bantha tracks. It's all wrong. Yeah, like crime scene investigator Obi-Wan. Yeah.
If that's what the series is.
Oh, it's just a detective series with Obi-Wan? Oh my God.
It could be like, I know we all hate The Mentalist, but if it's a show where like there's a will they won't they between the weird wizard who helps solve the crimes and the like sassy detective on Tatooine.
Really good. I am fully in for Space Mentalist.
If I don't post The Mentalist, but it's Obi-Wan to promote this episode,
I think
I've been kidnapped and replaced.
Oh no. Gareth's just one of two Jawas now. And yeah, so Luke realizes in this moment that the Empire have like tracked the droids to the Jawas and therefore potentially to his family, and rushes home. At the end of our playthrough here, as we go into Eclipse and the Heartbeats, it is rough because he arrives home, it's like on fire, which is impressive for a hole in the ground. And yeah, there are a pair of like charred skeletons out front as Pink Floyd sing "I Can't Think of Anything to Say," or we get that little interlude part, and I can't think of anything to say. It's super dark.
Yeah, never noticed there was the charred scully before.
Yeah, there's two of them.
It looks like some flesh still on it. Yeah. It's nasty.
It's fucking gross. Not cool, Pink Floyd, to comment such.
You should say that's sad and move on.
Yeah.
Like us.
Luke doesn't even give like a discernible reaction. He just sort of like looks down, which is like, I don't know, pretty bad acting on Mark Hamill's part, but whatever. You'd think it'd break down about his parents being charred as skeletons.
Well, apparently the direction was very 1-0 on this. It was like, all Lucas would be saying is like, do it faster or do it more.
Wow, yeah.
So he probably just got the do it faster that day.
I guess so. There we go. Another mystery solved by Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Dunk dunk.
So yeah, Eclipse rolling in as Vader comes in to like interrogate the princess with this like torture droid, like this like orb guy. He's got a little syringe on him.
Yeah, which it zooms in on.
Yeah, no like movement. The syringe is the mind probe that they describe later, which is a bit much. But yeah, this like, I don't know how this thing would torture you. It can barely move. It's just sort of a floating orb, but that's pretty menacing in of itself.
I feel like it wouldn't have enough speed to get the syringe in you.
Yeah. It's like, that's part of the torture, is that it's really bad at it.
Oh, sorry, missed the vein again.
Oh, sorry. Oh. I don't like that torturer. Get him out of here. It's the incompetent, like, saw robot.
Like when you give blood, but that's a new person who can't find where to put the needle.
No.
And that needle's bigger, to be honest, than this little guy's one.
Probably going in your head if it's a mind probe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, Luke heads back to the Sandcrawler now that there's nothing holding him back, and we end this playthrough. And looking as we get in the Heartbeats, we're looking down at Mos Eisley Spaceport, the Richard Hive of scum and villainy that we know and love. I love Mos Eisley.
Yeah.
As we are going into playthrough too.
Yeah, this is my favorite sequence. Like, not so much the outside of it, but once you get into a little cantina.
Yeah. We're going to get there now. Because, we've got opening titles. We've got Speak to Me. I'm so used to saying that. Speak to Me, and heading there for some fairly unnecessary CGI sequences with, like, large giraffe things. Serpent giraffes out here just walking in front of the scene that we want to watch. Obi-Wan does a Jedi mind trick. These aren't the droids you're looking for, which I think has become like a saying unto itself, like outside of the movie. These aren't the droids you're looking for.
Yeah, like it's almost like an office meme.
Yeah.
Like someone could say it at your work and everyone would be like, ha ha ha. And,
Exactly.
and they'll have no idea what you're talking about. But they'll all get it.
Yeah, it's canon. And then, they go into this bar to see if they can find a pilot to take them off world. And everybody's here in this cantina scene.
Yes.
Love it. As we are in Breathe having the best moment in the album and the best moment in the movie, because it's just good times and weird aliens in here.
Yeah, this is definitely like everything I love about Star Wars. Like, I love Star Wars the same way I love The Simpsons. And like, we've talked about it before. We talked about how The Simpsons jokes work so well because they each hint at a beautiful story hidden behind it. Like, ever seen a man throw a shoe? Or say goodbye to a shoe? Yes, once. Oh, there's a story there. And just everyone in this cantina has a story. 100%. Like, the devil's there.
Yeah, Satan.
There's like a werewolf. There's everything you can picture. A big, long, like, guy who looks like he got run over by a snowplow for his own face.
Slugman, We got tiny little alien wanting to get, like, reaching up and getting milk from the
little bat.
Little bat boy.
And he gets a full arc because later we see him with his milk.
God, he was so thirsty.
Honestly, like, my Star Wars movie would be just like one of those. I don't even know these kind of movies exist, but like it's 4 hours long. It's all in the same restaurant, and we just pan table to table and hear the conversations.
Yes.
And they're all freaky aliens, some of which going through divorce, some of which like
It's like a play, like a Star Wars play that's set in the cantina. I'd be down for that. It's just called Cantina.
Yeah. It could be like, actually make it a play, and it could be something for like a drama school to do as their graduation showpiece. That's great. And everyone gets to play an alien and have a scene together. Yeah. Structure like a Laurent improv scene where everyone talks to the previous person in the previous scene and they just keep cycling around and, I've lost everyone now talking about
no idea what you're talking about.
Improv, Star Wars, and graduate theatre. They meet Han Solo.
But everyone's here. I do want to shout out the band that we aren't hearing. Pink Floyd self-inserts in Star Wars. Frigrin Dan and the Modal Nodes is the name of this band. And they're all Bith, as you know, a species of alien. They are great, lads. And there's, I think, the same number of these guys as there are in Pink Floyd. So that's pretty cool. Hilariously, the music that they play is called Jizz. So take that how you will.
That's an official George Lucas. It's in all the books.
Yeah, it's like, what if jazz, but different? And it's like, no, George, should have thought it through. No.
You'd think, like, of all the cool 70s guys he was hanging out with, like, Brian De Palma definitely should have told him.
No, he heard it. He laughed internally and said nothing.
Yeah. He tried to get George to mention it in the movie. Yeah. Like, good jizz tonight, eh?
Like George himself coming into the scene. He's like, some good jizz. And just like goes up to the bar.
Drinking the blue milk. Anyway, so they meet Han Solo.
Yes. They do. There's a little bit where a guy gets his arm cut off that we're skipping over, but that's fine.
Another arm though.
Yeah, another arm getting cut off. This like messed up like pig face looking guy. I don't know what's going on with him, but he doesn't like you. No. Anyway, they go off and meet the pilot, Han Solo, the guy. Yeah. Captain of the Millennium Falcon, the ship that made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs, which is a unit of distance. Don't ask questions. He's keen to take them to Alderaan after getting reverse haggles, which is great. He's like, you owe me 10,000 credits. And Obi-Wan's like, what about 17,000 credits? And you don't ask any more questions there, bucko. And he's like, alrighty, sounds good. And yes, stormtroopers come in to investigate and Luke and Obi-Wan like move out of the way. Han gets stopped by Greedo, a bounty hunter. Loving his greed. I do kind of like that he's sort of just dressed like Han, but is an alien.
Yeah. He's probably what Han was originally supposed to look like.
Probably, right?
Yeah. I love his look.
He's great. He's like a big fly man, big blue fly man with like a trunk and spooky eyes. I like Greedo.
Yeah, but not enough to care who shoots first.
No. He does also, I think he's another character that speaks in another language, but like for us, instead of like sometimes we get subtitles that's just like alien language, but other times we get full translations in our subtitles. Yeah. And so it is interesting to imagine Greedo speaking because there's no like in another language he says this, but it's just him speaking with like a proper voice. Because I'm pretty sure that he doesn't. Usually in the original cut of the movie, Han shoots Greedo cold when he's like, "I'm gonna kill you, boy," and then he gets killed and it's like, oh, whoops. But in the redo, he changed it so that Greedo basically fires at the same time, but like misses because of like some fancy footwork from Han or something. Just to show that like Han didn't shoot like someone out cold. It paints him as less of like a cold killer, I guess, from the get-go, is sort of the reasoning behind it. It's one of the ones that's most like contentious about things that have changed in the movie, but so I feel like I have to mention it. Yeah. I really don't care that much. Like, I don't think it changes Han's character that much.
Nah, it's just weird. Like, we talked about it off mic. It's like, did George think people loved Greedo that much?
Yeah. The Greedo stands coming out in full force.
Because then later, there's another Greedo later on, as if he's edited him back in to be like, and Greedo was fine.
Hashtag Greedo lives. Yeah. Yeah. It's probably just another Greedo.
Yeah.
Greedo's twin. All right.
Who's like a baker.
Called like Gluttony-O.
Oh no.
There's 7 Greedos. Now that's a movie.
7 Greedos.
It's like 7 brides for 7 brothers, but 7 Greedos for 7 brothers.
Oh, there you go. Fantastic.
If you have 6 brothers, we know some Greedos.
We've got some Greedos for you.
I don't really like where that's going because that does imply that there's a luster.
That's why. So we need to find these brothers.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
I don't know. We're getting in the ominous time chords, though, as back at the Death Star, the baddies are discussing that the princess is resisting the mind probe, and they're like, yes, we'll go to Alderaan and convince her. And then, we see the Imperial spy stalking them, who's like sort of a Greedo guy. He's got a big old trunk and little goggles.
He's like a plague doctor.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I would always play as this guy in Lego Star Wars. Lego Star Wars, you get to choose the character that you play as a lot of the time. And there's like every character in Star Wars in that game. It's like one of the best selling points of it, by the way. Check it out. It's great.
Is Salacious Crumb involved?
Pretty sure you can play as Salacious Crumb. But yeah, I would always play as this little spy because I always thought he was really funny looking. Yeah. And he had like a little blaster and he could talk in a radio being like...
That's everything he does.
That's all I want to do. Yeah. He's going to alert the baddies. But we get big CGI Jabba now, a big slug boy who's just slugging it up outside the ship. Again, like speaking fluent English for us with subtitles, but speaking his own Jabba language in the movie proper. And just sort of bargaining with Han Solo because he's killed the assassin that he sent after him. He says that he'll pay him back plus 15% after this charter job that they go on. So, and Jabba's like a nice guy. He's like 20%, and then Han's like 15%, and he's like, sure. What a good guy. He's a friendly kingpin mob boss.
Yeah, no one taught Tatooine how to negotiate.
Exactly. Yeah, people go up in price, down in price. Who knows? It's only Han who knows anything about credits. They prepare the ship and take off, and they're in a rush to leave because stormtroopers attack before they can get away. We're in like this just after the time solar, and they say, when you run and you run to catch up with the sun, etc. So that's pretty good when they're escaping.
Yeah, but you're sinking.
Oh, there he is. Thankfully, the stormtroopers are lousy shots, so they manage to get away. Yeah. It's just a thing in the movie. They are described earlier as being like the shots that they fire are too precise to be sand people earlier. They're like, oh, they're just so accurate and military trained. But the stormtroopers are notoriously incompetent in the Star Wars series. They always miss the main characters because plot armor's too thick.
Yeah. They should be making them suits out of plot armor.
Yeah. Instead of this plastic that they have lying around.
A stormtrooper just runs in and goes like, I haven't quite learned how to love, but I'm on my way. And then they just can't get hit.
There you go. Impossible.
A dreadnought. And yeah, they managed to get away. And yeah, have to avoid some Imperial cruisers before jumping to light speed, which they carry on about a lot.
Yeah.
There's like a lot of explanation of like, you got to do all kinds of calculations, otherwise you'll hit a star. And it's like, oh my gosh, I get it. I get space travel. I guess it's like the first time they're trying to explain this concept of hyperspace.
Yeah.
You know, it probably invented hyperspace, Star Wars. I don't actually know.
Oh, again, there's an answer.
I'm not going on Wikipedia, and I refuse to for this episode.
That is a scary planet. There's no greater hive of villainy in the galaxy. I just broke another pen on Mike.
Exactly. You broke the pen?
I'm sorry, it's your pen.
That's the pen was holding this house together.
It's not a Sync Floyd episode until I break a pen.
True enough. Yeah, they managed to get away, thankfully.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the Death Star reaches Alderaan, and as we go into Great King in the Sky, Princess Leia's homeworld gets blown up. She gives over the information of where the rebel base is. It's on Dantooine. But the baddies fire on her planet anyway, destroying it, because they're baddies. She's like, you're too trusting, says Grand Moff Tarkin. And yeah, aboard the Falcon, Obi-Wan senses this great loss of life as all the people on the planet die. He sees something like them all crying out at once and then were suddenly silenced. Which is, pretty messed up. I do like that happens over this like very emotional track.
Part of the album.
Yeah.
It's appropriate.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it really... Because the explosion of Alderaan, I didn't realize was just so quick. It was like quick and done. Like, I was all building up for like, oh yeah, long, slow explosion while Great Gig in the Sky plays. But it's like, boom, and then it cuts to like freaky space chess instead.
Yeah.
Just hanging out on the Falcon, you know, and nobody really knowing. They're playing freaky space chess, which looks very complicated. The little claymation Space Boys. I'm so glad that he didn't come back and change this. Like, that would have been so lame. But like, it's the kind of thing that he would have done. I'm really surprised at the restraint that they didn't change the 3D space chess.
Do you reckon if we started just saying claymation was CGI, like clay-generated imagery, people would get confused enough that they go back to claymation?
I hope so.
Yeah.
That would be good.
Let's do it. Just in time for Avatar 3, and it's all claymation.
Oh, shit.
It's the Grommet principle. I like that. Yeah, we'll try that. From now on, when we say CGI, we do mean claymation. Yeah. At all points. From here on. Yeah, Luke is practicing with like this little ball droid, trying to practice his sword play.
One of the many great ball droids of Star Wars.
Yeah, so many.
BB-8 and this guy.
There's that half ball who's just like a big black sphere on the ground when they're trying to sell the droids.
I can't think of any other balls.
There's Lobo, who's a bald man, a bald droid.
Oh yeah, a bald droid.
Yeah, man, shout out to Lobo.
Drop the city. Oh god, what a guy. I love it. Up in Cloud City. He's got like a weird keyboard on his head or something.
Yeah.
That's right.
Like, I feel like when I'm wearing wireless headphones. It's Lobo.
Yes. Oh my god, that's great.
He should be in Obi-Wan, and this is a reference even I don't get, as Sheriff Lobo.
Bring him back,
Yeah.
please.
I'm sure, like, someone in their, like, 60s is laughing at the reference to Sheriff Lobo.
I'm glad.
Or Sheriff Lobo is not a real thing, it was just talked about on The Simpsons. Who's to say? So they meet Han Solo.
He's still here, chastising Luke for using the Force. He didn't believe in no Force. And yeah, they like prove that it exists by him having the visor over his eyes so that he can use his sword still. Anyway, the rebel base that Leia talked about on. Oh, she says something about on Dantooine. The base that they go and scan or whatever is abandoned, and it's because they've actually moved to the moon of Dantooine, which is pretty smart.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the like on-planet base has been completely abandoned. So even, she's still lying, even when like the threat of her entire planet's going to be blown up, like fucking ice cold.
No, they were a lot like Pink Floyd after finishing Metal. They moved on to the moon.
There you go.
Perfect.
So they meet Han.
Echoes of that joke. The ship comes up on Alderaan, the Millennium Falcon, but there's nothing there because it's been blown up. It's just space debris. And a fighter comes in to attack them, and they're like, that's weird. This is a short-range ship. There's no base around here. It seems to be heading towards that moon. That's no moon. There's no dark side. Yeah, it's the old base. It's the Death Star, Star Killer Base, V1.0.
Yeah, one of 3 Death Stars, right, across the series?
Yes, if you count Star Killer Base, then yeah. I think so. I think it's just the 2 in the original.
Yeah.
But it is very funny that they rebuild it and it gets blown up again. That must be so frustrating. Oh, man.
And it's in Rogue One, it's Mads Mikkelsen that puts in the thing that makes it explode, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
I had nothing to do with that piece of information. I just like Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah, good guy. Big fan of the boy. Get old Mads, get him involved.
Yeah.
He's got his little egg and he's ready to destroy the Death Star.
So they meet Han Solo.
They meet Han.
They can't get away because they get pulled into a tractor beam and pulled into the Money Solo and the Death Star. And troops are like all mobilizing around. Some guys come out of the floor for no apparent reason. A dude comes out of the ship and reports to Vader, and he's like, according to the log, they've abandoned ship shortly before takeoff. There's no one on board. And Vader's like, I sense something's up. My spidey sense is tingling. Send out a search party. My master must be around somewhere. And then he's like, I haven't sensed this in, and then just like walks away, like halfway through a sentence, which is great.
I wonder if in the original there was a time he hasn't sensed it, but then George had to change it because he didn't know.
He's like, no, faster. Oh man. I love him. It's just like, it's great that he's like so off kilter about this whole thing. Sensing something wrong in the Force. And the crew are in fact hiding in a smuggler's stash on the Millennium Falcon because it's a smuggling ship. Just hiding in the floor. Chewbacca pops his head out like a little whack-a-mole.
And gets a lovely little pat on the head from Han Solo.
Yeah, just
I'm amazed they crammed him in there.
Yeah.
Big smuggling capabilities aboard this ship. Yes. After a little trickery, they like disguise themselves as stormtroopers. They like beat up some guys and take their armor. And as we head into Us and Them, they break into a computer room like near the hangar. Like Chewbacca just like knocks a guy aside with his big Wookiee arm. And R2 like jacks into the computer hacker style. Like even there's like a moment where he turns to camera, which I found very enjoyable.
Why didn't you edit in him saying I'm in, George?
The little guy. Sunglasses descend, but there's just like one lens covering his little eye port. What a guy. And they need to temporarily disable a power core in order to turn off the tractor beam. And Obi-Wan insists on doing that himself because he's the oldest and most likely to die. And he's like, you stay here and watch the droids. May the force be with you. May the voice be with you. It's like, okay, we guess we hang out in this room. R2 finds the cell of Princess Leia, like with his Hacker Man sunglasses, and is like, we've got to go save her. Well, Luke says that because he's like obsessed with her. And Han, who hasn't seen the hologram, is just like, no, I'm not doing that. We got to stay here, like the old man said, even though earlier he was like, I don't want to stay here. This sucks. But yeah, eventually gets convinced by appealing to his Greedo, getting him. Let's be like, this princess, she's pretty rich.
Yeah.
Well, we'll pay you lots of creditos to come on this mission and save the princess. And he's like, oh, fine, she better be rich. And yeah, they escort Chewie in handcuffs as like a ruse, like transporting him down to the detention level, seeing as that's where they need to go anyway.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty good solution. It is very funny of them just like wandering around this base, like waving people on, being like, nah, this Wookiee is out of control.
Yeah. Like a guy doesn't get in the elevator because they do the like hand across neck thing. Like, this guy will murder more than 2 people in an elevator.
Yeah. If another guy gets in here, you don't want to be around when this Wookiee's off his leash. All right? He's crazy.
Elevator music drives this guy wild.
What do you think the elevator music is on board the...
Oh, it's definitely like bleep, bloop, bleep, bloop, bleep, 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 bleep.
The old jizz standard.
George Lucas cut out his own cameo where he's riding an elevator and goes like, oh, standard jizz.
I love jizz. I love it so much. And there's 2 stormtroopers just look at him like, what?
Oh, he's on an elevator that's going to a lower floor, and he's like, when I'm going down, I love jizz.
Oh no.
Like, Brian De Palma's like,
What happened to this show?
get us in person, and we're like little
kids.
little crank yankers.
Oh no.
Are those are those rude puppets?
I don't know if we should be calling ourselves that when we're talking about jizz, Gareth.
Oh no. Oh, so they meet Han Solo.
They meet Han Solo. He's on the mission saving the day. He's going down with Chewie on the elevator. They get down to the detention level and the guard's like, this is very suspicious. I need to look this up. I'm going to call this in, boys. And they're like, okay, and then start a gunfight. They shoot like a lot of cameras. There's like a lot of like little, like everything electronic in this whole room basically gets shot as part of the sequence. It's like a minute of shooting. It's really long. And yeah, they're like shooting guys down amid shooting cameras and lights and stuff. I don't know. And Luke goes to try and find the cell, and Han tries to cover up by putting on like a very silly voice that we didn't get to hear. He's like, oh yeah, everything's fine down here. It's so good. He's like trying to do like a really light Canadian accent or something. It's great. But yeah, trying to convince everyone that there's just been like a malfunction or something. When in fact, he is like, he gives up on this halfway through and shoots the console, saying boring conversation anyway. Yes. So we find the cell with the princess, and Luke's like, I'm here with Obi-Wan, let's go. Right as we go into any color you like. Vader like senses that Obi-Wan's on board the Death Star. He's just like stalking around and goes to like report to Tarkin about this. Our rescue team gets sort of like pinned inside the hallway with oncoming fire. Like a troop of stormtroopers finds them and comes through the hole in the wall. They call out to 3PO and R2, who are still hanging out in that room on a communicator, being like, find us an exit. And they're like, there's no exit. Sorry, boys. And there's people outside their room as well. Leia takes matters into her own hands, which I love that she just gets involved, because the boys have no idea. They're just like, I don't know what we're doing. We're just going to shoot our way out, I guess. And she's like, no, and grabs a gun and like fires into this little trash chute for them to go down into.
You forget that she's like, even in this movie, she's so cool.
Yeah. She like takes control, and she like is a like battle commander later in the movie. She's sweet, and just stays that way for the whole series. They go down into the trash chute with Han saying, either I'm going to kill her or I'm beginning to like her, which is a good line. We have a trash chute sequence with them in this like gross little set. It looks great with all the like polystyrene.
The fact it's also like ankle deep in water is such a nice, disgusting touch.
It's really good, And there's a creature down here.
Yeah, who's he?
I don't know. He's the little sewer boy who lives in the trash chute and eats stuff, like discarded donuts of the stormtroopers. I don't know. He's got a little like periscope eye that comes out, which is very good. Yeah, we never see what this thing is, but it grabs Luke and like tries to get him.
Yeah.
They lose him underwater, but suddenly there's like a rumble in the room and he gets freed. It just like lets him go and disappears.
This guy's got to get out of here.
Yeah, it's cause the chamber itself is being compacted. It's like being squished. I'm pushing my hands together in a slow clap.
Yeah. Everyone do it at home.
Yeah. And they try and call 3PO to get them out of there on the communicator, but he's turned his phone off and is hiding in a broom closet.
Recording a podcast.
Yeah. Bloody hell, 3PO. Just needs to talk about the stormtroopers who come in and are like massively incompetent. He's like, they went that way. They're down at the detention level. You can catch them if you're quick. And they're like, oh, okay.
Thanks, helpful robot.
Yeah, thank you, broom closet
Never
robot.
seen you before.
Yeah, you just live in that closet. You've been there the whole time? Okay, cool. And yeah, they leave one guard stormtrooper there as the others go off to the detention level to chase after these people. 3PO and R2 just sneak by being like, we're going to go down to maintenance, if you don't mind. My poor little R2 friend, he's very shook up about this whole thing. And the guy's like, oh, I understand. Off you go.
Oh, they've just done like a training on robot awareness or something. And they're like, well, we better do it.
Droids are people too. Yeah, it's a good HR department in the Death Star, turns out. Yes, we go into Eclipse for end of playthrough 2 as for that part. And Obi-Wan is sneaking around the power core, turning things off, as we're effectively turning off this play of the album. He turns the power down and we see like a bar going. And yeah, we go into playthrough 3 as like there's some bickering between Han and Leia about who's in charge of giving orders. As they're down here. They do manage to escape the trash compactor, thankfully. Because as the droids get away, they remember, like 3PO remembers, he's like, oh yeah, I turned the communicator off. And like Luke like very panicked calls him and they get freed. And yeah, I do love that Han calls Leia your worshipfulness because he's running out of stuff to say.
That's good writing.
Yeah, he's run out of adjectives. And yeah, the crew and the droids are now like split across the hangar effectively on either side trying to like reunite. Han and Chewie hilariously like run down the hall in like a Scooby-Doo moment, chasing some like a horde of stormtroopers, like 7 or 8 of them down the hall with just like one guy running after them. And then they run into like a barracks full of them and have to run the other way. It's very silly. Luke and Leia get trapped on like a short ledge and have to swing across an open expanse with like a deployable grappling hook that Luke's always
never
had.
mentioned. His literally his bat belt. His bat utility belt.
Utility belt on his like grey robes that he's now wearing. I don't know. It's just for, you know, all the things that you swing from in the deserts.
It's like the whole thing about how Spider-Man would do, who'd do so badly in the suburbs. Like, Luke must have been conned for this. There must have been some magic beans that he sold his bantha for a grappling hook and then looked around at all the one-story buildings in sand.
It is the kind of thing you'd do.
Yeah.
Biggs, would not let that go.
Nah.
Yeah. Leia also gives him a kiss on the cheek for luck as part of the swinging across thing, which, it fills Luke with confidence.
Yeah.
It just instantly, the power of the kiss. We go into On the Run now as Han and Chewie are getting chased through some blast doors. He does a wee skip, which is very cute, going straight through. And then we go into the confrontation between Vader and Obi-Wan, a sword fight for the first lightsaber battle of the movie series. It's not very impressive.
I actually, because I've been, being a bit of a prequel watcher, Rise of prequel watcher, I, the discourse is like, oh, this final lightsaber battle in Revenge of the Sith is so good. The flips, the everything. And it's like wild. But I enjoyed this one more because it was like, this would be two old men who are good at swords.
Yeah.
Just like two equally matched.
It does sort of feel like a fencing match in that there's no like flashy spins or anything. They are like holding their swords directly in front of them, which is what you should do in a sword fight, and being like putting your blade between you and your enemy and not letting it get close. Like that's all a sword fight really is. I'd say it's probably the most realistic, but which is kind of wild that it's the first one, but and they just get more outlandish from there. I don't know. It doesn't read as well or as exciting as a sequence. It's dramatic, but that's about it. So yes, we're mid sword fight, mid saber fight. And yeah, the stormtroopers, they like maneuver themselves so that they're in view of the stormtroopers in front of the ship in the hangar. And they're like, oh shit, let's go over and watch.
I love that.
Yeah, giving everyone time to get to the ship.
Yeah, because every single stormtrooper's like, shit, we got to see this.
We got to watch this.
That weird cloak guy is having a fight.
And yeah, they like, the goodies all like head towards the ship, running off, but Luke sees old Ben across the hall fighting a big tall guy in a black suit.
I mean, just going back, you would, like, if the weird cloak guy at your office 100% would get in a fight with an old man on office hours, and everyone would watch.
Yeah, 100%.
Including the kid the old man trained.
Yes.
Obi-Wan sees Luke from across the way and gives like a wry smile, and then like raises his lightsaber up in front of him in like prayer, I don't know, and just gets swiped in the side by Vader. But before this happens, he like just disappears. He just like is not there in the robes. It's like a Jedi move. Yeah. They just sort of disappear when they die instead of like
die. So that's what happens, is he just dies and the
whole body vanishes?
Yeah, because this happens again later. Like Luke does this. He just like bamfs out.
Okay.
You know, like he just becomes a cloak.
I've never quite clicked to that, so that's good to finally be explained.
He just turns into the Force ghost. He like channels all of his energy into the Force and becomes part of the Force in that moment or something.
I guess that makes it canon that you get to choose what you dress like or what you are when you die, like what age you are, because he also gets to take his clothes with him, even though they did vanish.
Be a different movie if there were fully nude Force ghosts. Just a nude Yoda. Don't want to see it. Don't want to know.
Or if like he vanishes and his cloak falls down and Luke's so shocked, and then you just see nude Obi-Wan sneak up behind him. It's like Jedi teleportation.
Oh no. So yes, he's gone and Luke's like calling out for him. It's like Vader hilariously like kicks around the robe on the floor like looking for him. He's like,
he a mouse?
Yeah. Well, he's turned into a womp rat.
Luke couldn't help himself. He'd have to blast him.
Knows all about those. And yeah, like this annoyingly does not align with the On the Run crash.
No.
Obi-Wan dying.
Yeah, you even outright said annoying when we watched it. And I was like, me making you rewatch this?
No. Like, it sucks because it's slightly out. Yeah. Like, probably about 10 seconds again. So what they cut? I don't know. They changed everything. An extra sponsor at the start in the opening titles or something. That whole conversation with Biggs. But yeah, the crew managed to break away from the station. He does hear like Obi-Wan's voice in his head being like, go, it's fine. Yeah. May the Force be with you, etc. And yeah, they escape, but have to fight off some like TIE fighters coming in. It sucks that we don't get to hear the TIE fighter noise because that's the wildest thing about these early Star Wars movies. They're just like this horrible screech sound. They're so cool, and like there's no sound in space, but like these guys just going like all around is so funny. It's like the best thing about Star Wars.
Yeah, all the sound design's amazing. Like the animal sounds, the chewy, the choking is like coins in a piece of plastic or something. The Force choke. Yeah.
Oh. It's all cool Foley stuff. Like light and magic, right? Like I think did that?
Industrial Light and Magic.
Yeah.
Big old Foley room. And also you can't use the Star Wars sound effects. If you edit something at Lucas Ranch, there'll be a big folder of sound effects that you're not allowed to touch. And it's the same for Indiana Jones's whip. That whip sound's only going to get used when he's using his whip.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, whereas they use the Wilhelm scream. So
Yeah, they use that in the movie already, actually.
Yeah. Which is, for those of you who don't know, like a scream that's in a bunch of movies, the exact same MP3 file, essentially.
Yeah. It's just a movie meme or something.
In the old sense of the word, of like an idea that's passed along.
Yeah.
Oh.
Pretty sweet. Yeah, it's when a stormtrooper like falls off over that big expanse. I didn't cover it then. But yeah, that's when we get our Wilhelm scream for the movie. So there you go. We don't hear it. Anyway, yes. They fight off these TIE fighters in the like up and down like gun parts of the Millennium Falcon, like top and bottom areas. I love these like gun seats that swivel around. It looks really satisfying and fun.
I want to hit up an arcade.
Yeah. It's good vibes. But yeah, they managed to take out the TIE fighters. There's only 4. And they managed to get away. But little do they know, the baddies have secured a homing device to the bottom of the Millennium Falcon and are going to trace them to the Rebel base. They're going to follow them there. And yeah, Leia's like immediately onto it, being like, this was too easy. They're following us. And Han's like, whatever, you call that easy? I've been busting my ass trying to save you, princess. Excuse me, princess.
It's the 70s. He probably tried a take where he said, excuse me. And George just made him do it faster.
But yeah, he's like boasting about managing to get away. And yeah, Leia basically thinks this guy's a big jerk, obsessed with only money. And Luke comes in and sets up this like rivalry between them about Leia being like, he's like, so you don't like the princess? And Luke's like, good, happy face. And he's like, well, she's got spirit though. Like, I think he's just messing with him at this point, because Luke is like wears his heart on his sleeve. But yeah, at the moment, there's also only about 20 minutes of movie left, and we've got the full assault on the Death Star to happen over the course of 20 minutes, which is insane.
That's the thing, is like watching this and being in playthrough 3 when this is happening, because for some reason it was nailed in my head that the Star Wars splits clean down the middle, and I don't know who told me this. It's split clean down the middle between fighting the Death Star and then fighting the Death Star, and like. It's not. There's only 20 minutes of that.
No, it's like, I think it could be split down the middle of them like being on the Death Star versus not. Like it's like pre-Death Star, post-Death Star. I don't know. But I'm not quite sure on that. With Pink Floyd in the mix, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, it throws off your pacing. Like, I was so stunned that it was like 4 songs before you even meet Luke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild. Again, it's all 3PO and R2 for the whole start of the movie. Yeah. It's like, imagine if the whole movie was just those droids. Like, they're the heroes.
Ooh. Okay. I'm sure that's what George wanted.
Great. Anyway, we get to the moon of Dantooine, above Dantooine, presumably, which is like a jungle moon. There's like an Aztec pyramid out here that they're hanging out in. There's a dude up on like a tall pipe that he's like scanning them, being like, yes, they're good. Yeah. With a little scan gun.
$19.99 for these guys.
Yeah. He's a big fan.
Price check on Leia.
And yeah, the baddies are also in hot pursuit, but they've somehow warped the Death Star there. Don't know how that works.
Good point.
But yeah, they're closing in on the planet as well, but they have to wait for the moon to be in alignment for, it's because, I don't know, it's so big a space station, perhaps they can't like maneuver around the planet, and maybe it only does warp speed. I don't know. Yeah, they've got to wait for the moon to be in alignment before they can blast it, which is only about 30 minutes. Yeah. We are in time, and we're having the tempo change of time right now, as that we get home again, as we're back with the rebel boys on the base.
Yeah.
Leia's effectively home. And we have like a briefing about this planned assault. Effectively, I'll cover it off pretty quickly. There's like a trench along the side of the Death Star that they have to get up there in like small one-man ships because they're small enough that the Death Star like won't detect them and won't be able to take them out because they're too nippy. And they've got to shoot a proton torpedo down, which is a space thing.
Yeah. Add proton to the front, torpedo.
Down a thermal exhaust port only 2 meters wide. So like a really small hole in the side of the Death Star, which will go all the way to the center and blow up the reactor. There's a really hilarious like journey to the core kind of diagram that gets shown. It's very good. Luke compares this maneuver to shooting womp rats on his farm, big space rats. He's like, it's just like that. Yeah. And the guy next to him is like, shut up.
There's so many just the most 70s boys in this crowd. Yeah.
They're good lads. There's like the member of the Doors in the front row. Like, love it. We'll get to the best character right at the end, though.
I just remembered him too.
We're in Great Gig now, and we have the not frightened of dying motif as everyone's preparing for the suicide mission up in space. Luke's joined up with the flight crews and is going to be assisting on the mission because something he's always wanted to do. But Han is taken off. He's ready to move on. He's gotten paid. He's got huge briefcases full of money.
Yeah, which they're calling credits. So I'm assuming just various American Express cards. Yeah. Some visas. Just things they found.
Yeah, just everything that they can give him. Because
Han has to
Leia's
guess the PIN numbers.
Her whole planet's been destroyed, so presumably she's not that rich anymore.
Everyone just gives them their wallets. Good luck. There's a Subway stamp card.
How many stamps? Is it 8? I need my sandwich.
Only allowed in Alderaan.
Damn it! This is useless to me. Subway Alderaan. Anyway, Luke tells them off, chastises them for taking off in their darkest hour, and he's like, "It's not wise to join this fight. It's a suicide mission. It's like very dangerous. What's good is being rich and being alive to spend it. Basically, is what he's saying." He does say, as Luke turns and leaves, he says to him, "May the Force be with you," effectively wishing him luck on the mission, even though he doesn't believe in the Force. It's a nice thing to say.
Yeah.
Which is good. Luke talks to Leia, who gives him another kiss to keep him going.
Yeah, he's fueled by them.
Yeah, he's like, I miss my old friend, old Ben, and not my parents. And Han's, I thought I could convince him to join, but no. And then she kisses him, and he's like, well, time to fight. R2 gets loaded on board the little ship. Yeah. He's going to be part of the battle as a friendly co-pilot. I think this is what the R2 units are actually for. They're for space repairs and navigators. They're plugged into ships to do this exact function. That's why they've got the swivel heads on top.
Because again, I've never questioned what R2 is actually built for.
Yeah, pretty sure that's what he's for.
Yeah, because he's got so much going on. He's got his little fire extinguishers and
he's a little repair guy. Okay. A little maintenance droid.
Yeah. I guess he's like a cell phone. If you showed someone a cell phone these days, they'd be like, what is it actually for though? You'd be like, TikTok?
And they're like, I've got a clock at home. Anyway, he also meets up with Biggs, our boy Biggs, mustachioed friend, who we know and love. He's just a guy that is here for the mission.
Yeah, he used to hang out with Luke, and now he's here.
Yep, that's it. It's someone that he knows. And he's like, this mission is just going to be like at home when we did the thing. Remember Biggs? And Biggs is like, I remember, and that's it. It's so good.
So strange.
And they get ready to take off of the assault on the Death Star as we finish up Great Gig and get the cha-ching of money coming in. As we find out that there's only 15 minutes left until the moon is about to blow up.
Yeah. Wasted all that time with Biggs.
Yeah, right? Remembering the thing. all the crew are like, we're flying towards the Death Star and everyone's like reporting their code names and we're getting like pilot cams for everybody. In an attempt to make this part not confusing, but super is, there's like two teams. There's a red team and a gold team.
Yeah.
And they're all numbered. And there's a bunch of guys. I don't know.
And you see them all, and they go like red 1, red 2, red 10, gold 1, gold 3, pink Floyd. It's like just it made it way harder. Like later, we find out one guy's name is like Porkins.
Yeah,
that's so much easier. I couldn't tell you Porkins' number. I could barely tell you his name, but which does not help my point.
Oh, Porkins, what a guy! Ah. It's like he was like waiting for them all to get code names like Maverick and stuff from like Top Gun, but no, there's like people just keep calling him by his real name, Porkins. It's like, damn it! Oh, poor guy. Porkins. Yeah. Yes. So we're flying up. We're getting an assault on the Death Star. There's not much to talk about really with this. It's just a bunch of like dogfights that happen. The ships are small enough that they aren't getting hit by the lasers on the Death Star because they're too like slow to maneuver. These big things, they're for taking out big like Imperial class ships, you know, and so they're having to deploy the TIE fighters to stop them. Porkins like needlessly dies. He just like is flying along and he's like, I can do it, I'm Porkins, and like just is flying, like refuses to pull up while being chased by a TIE fighter and just gets shot and explodes. And it's like, Porkins.
Yeah, had to notify us next of Porkin.
Oh no. That's a crime. Oh my god. The look you gave me mid-joke was worth it.
I don't know if you noticed, but I also wrote down that joke when we were talking about him earlier. I was like, Porkins.
Nice. Yeah, Luke hears Obi-Wan's voice telling him to trust his feelings, and he's like, there's something wrong with my communicator. I keep getting the sixth sense in my ear. The dead guy keeps talking to me. And yeah, the red team fighters start getting picked off by the TIE fighters. Luke saves a couple of his friends, like doing some quick maneuvers and shooting down TIE fighters. It's cool stuff. We see R2 doing a fun little repair job. Vader gets involved himself and goes like out into his special TIE fighter, which is like flatter. The other ones have like big like hexagon wings either side of them, and his one has like a little Pringles either side instead. And I think like 2 orbs instead of 1. I don't know what the deal is. He gets involved in the fight and is mostly the main antagonist for taking out these trench runs, which we get several of. There's like 3 attempts at this trench run, where first there's like long ships with like pens either side of them try it, the like corvettes or whatever I think they're called, and they just get blown up. They don't even get close before they can do it. And then we have an X-Wing run from like the gold team coming in, but they all get taken out by Vader. The leader does get close enough to actually drop his torpedo, but misses because it's so hard to do. Even the targeting computer can't do it. And then like the boys are talking to him, being like, "Oh, we'll get him off your tail," and he's like, "No, my starboard engine's already done. You guys set up for your run." And he gets taken out by Vader, like sacrificing himself so that they can make an attempt, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Shout outs to this gold leader guy. So they have 1 minute left, and Biggs and Wedge and Luke make one final assault on the trench themselves. And Pink Floyd sing that they're only ordinary men.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's very dramatic, the trench run. It's a really cool looking sequence with this like crazy architecture of the Death Star just like flying by the windows at like insane speeds. Yeah. It's a cool idea as well that they have to like run along the trench and drop the thing in.
It's such a forgotten part of the movie for something that like maybe the Pink Floyd was just enhancing it, but it was really cool.
It felt great. Yeah. It was very exciting over us and them for some reason. Yeah. But yeah, Biggs gets taken out with a blast from Vader's squad, unfortunately. Wedge has to like peel off because I think he's like one of his engines gets taken out, and they're like, ignore him, keep going for the leader.
Some sort of joke with a wedge peeling off, wedge of cheese, but
maybe Don't know.
If you have the joke, write it.
Write in syncfloydpod@gmail.com. Subject line, joke. So like it's just Luke left, and he's like already been hit once, so he's like losing speed and getting chased down by the TIE fighters. He brings up his targeting computer to make the shot, but then again he hears Obi-Wan's voice in his mind telling him to use the Force and trust your feelings. Vader declares the Force is strong with this one, which is very good. It just like consents it, the power.
That's such a weird line that if it wasn't iconic would be like just so strange.
It's very strange. They're like, who's he talking to? Just him? He's reporting it in, like for future notes.
His solo podcast he's recording.
For the black box.
Yeah.
But yeah, R2 gets hit by a laser, and like, so he's no help anymore, poor boy. And at the last minute, Han appears in the Millennium Falcon, taking out one of the fighters, and sending the other two like spiraling into each other. It's hilarious. Like, there's a great bit where Vader looks over his shoulder and goes, "What?" Which is probably my favorite line in the whole movie. Just him going like, "What?" Not at all expecting it. And yeah, he gets like spiraling out into space. Luke takes the shot just before the Death Star can take its shot and destroy the moon. So he fires his torpedoes and gets away. And there's a big explosion of the Death Star. They did it. Success. There's only like 3 TIE fighters left and the Millennium Falcon. But yeah, they did it over the R's of us and them. That like whole sequence basically plays over us and them, which is like shows you how short it is. Really.
Considering we've had like whole Great Gig in the Skies of just hanging out.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So Vader like rewrites himself and coasts off in his ship, the only survivor of the Death Star, and just like zooms off into space. I don't know, maybe he crash lands on the planet. Who's to say? But yeah, Luke and Han head back to the moon with the remaining fighters, and they're like brought back as heroes. Everyone's hugging. Han saved the day, so he's a big hero. He had a change of heart. Good on him. Great bit with 3PO ducking underneath the X-Wing, which I only noticed on this watch.
It must have been so difficult for old Anthony Daniels in that 3PO costume.
He's only got 2 choices. He can like lean over forward, or he can try and limbo under an X-Wing. And it's like neither of them are good.
His knees aren't moving.
No. That's like the hardest scene in the film for him, I think. He hit that X-Wing a lot of times, I'm willing to bet. But yeah, he's very concerned because R2 needs to come down and get repaired. He's all broken up. He offers some of his own parts as an organ donor for droids. And yeah, we get like a star wipe or something ridiculous. We haven't talked about the wipes in this movie, but they are hilarious. Star Wars has some of the worst editing.
It's interesting. Like it's well edited. It just needs to put in these big wipes.
It's
like Windows
so,
Movie Maker.
My favorite thing about it is that they have committed to it, and they're like even the modern movies do it.
Yeah.
Because it's just like a hallmark of the series at this point, even though it's like pretty hokey and pretty silly. Yeah. A lot of them like are done for like comedic effect. There's one really early on where C-3PO gets lifted up because he's like lost his arm, and it's like the scene is lifting him up from below as well. It's really silly, and there's all kinds.
Yeah.
I was waiting for the checkerboard one.
I think there is a checkerboard, like
No
cutting from the
way.
Death Star to this moon base.
God damn.
Yeah.
Obscene.
I love it.
It just went through the one by one through the PowerPoint defaults. Like, so funny.
All it's missing is like this scene getting screwed up like a piece of paper and thrown into
away.
a bin.
Slurped off the side of the page. Yeah. Oh my God. But yeah, we have the final scene, the celebration sequence. Everyone's here. Everyone's here, lined up, excited. Luke's wearing a great looking jacket, like a yellow jacket that he picked up for the ceremony. Yeah. Han is dressed as Han Solo, exactly the same thing that he always wears.
They made a mistake cutting out the scene where Han takes Luke shopping.
They did.
This is H&M, kid.
The Devil Wears Prada, but it's the devil from that one scene in the in the cantina. He's the scary
The
boss.
devil from Star Wars wears Prada from Star Wars.
There you go.
Anyway, yes, they walk down this long aisle and get awarded medals. Not Chewie though; he doesn't get a medal until the 9th film, and it's really silly. But yeah, he gets the medal. Gets the medals. Everyone, they do a wee bow to Leia, and she like smiles at them. And we see R2's okay. He's been repaired and he's doing his little R2 dance, his little shimmy.
But all of that pales in comparison to a man who's also in this shot.
Yes.
Like a man with a big mustache who looks like he's entirely in prosthetics.
Yeah.
He's essentially Jared Leto from House of Gucci.
Yeah. Big moustache.
Oh, we could not stop staring at him.
He steals the show. He looks like he could be an alien, like because it's so big. Like he's definitely a human, just with like he's made a really bold choice. But like it's close enough that like is this guy an alien?
I bet he's on Wikipedia and it's like actually the mustache
It's his mouth.
is the alien, and the mustache is the alien and the person is just like along for the ride.
Yeah. It's controlling him. It could well be. It's a fucking monster tash. Like,
Wow.
And I love that he makes it into the final shot.
just like mean mugging the lens as everyone turns to face the audience. Wookiee boy Chewbacca does a big like bleat and everyone is happy. And we get a circle wipe to the credits and we're in any color you like. And that is the movie Star Wars A New Hope. What did you think? How did it sink? Lay it on me.
I'm going to be honest. In this quest to rewatch the Star Wars,
The Star Wars. Yes.
I've been burned. Much like Lord Vader.
Oh no.
In that R2-D2 was having a good beep, a good bleep and whistle. This was watching it clean. Aforementioned friend of the show, Maddie Smith, turns to me and says, "Hear that? All these beep, and I was like, yeah, that's R2-D2. And she's like, that sounds like all the music you listen to.
Whoa! Roasted.
Yeah, and I mean, it's 100% true. It's beeps and bloops and occasionally screams. But I'm going to have to say, only in that way, for me, does Pink Floyd sync with Star Wars.
Yep. You're right. It's not good. Not a good sync. There's like scene transitions lining up every now and then, but that's it. It's a vast Tatooine desert with two suns beating down on us. And
we're moisture farming, trying to get those syncs.
trying to, but there's not much. Down in the hole with
Boofer. Boofer should have been the name of the Jared Leto character, because that's his catchphrase in House of Gucci.
Yeah, there we go. But yeah, I don't know. Not great. Probably like 2, 1, maybe 2.
I like that we've been generous with our ones lately, but I mean, I've got to think like our other ones being Whiplash.
Mm-hmm. I think this sync better than Whiplash.
Yeah. They sync better than Look Who's Talking.
That means nothing to me, Gareth. That was like over a year ago.
Yeah. Hey, Whiplash was longer ago.
It's
just a better film.
I don't know. I still feel like a 2 on this one.
Yeah.
Lump it in there with Look Who's Talking.
Yeah.
Look Who's Talking Star Wars on the microphone.
That's us.
Yeah.
But look at what we're talking next week.
Please.
For my final pick, before we finally do that movie that you know we're supposed to have done on episode 1, essentially. But for this film, like, we've learned a lot about films, you know, across this. I actually genuinely think I've learned more about film. I'm more of a cinephile now. And if you ask me, a good film is something that moves you. A good film has to move you.
Like an escalator.
And I went down to the shop and I was like, I need a movie that moves me. A movie that will really move me. And the nice man at the shop said, all right.
The movie shop.
A movie that makes you move. And I was like, yeah, a movie that moves me. And he's like, yeah, you're going to move with this movie, which is why we're watching Jane Fonda's workout tape.
What?
We're going to watch Jane Fonda's workout from the 80s.
Oh my God.
Syncs with Pink Floyd. And that's movie 99.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. Yep, I'm ready to do it. I'm going to work out the whole time.
Yeah.
I'm going to do the full tape.
I think I'll have to as well, right?
Just to know.
But then I also want to sit completely still and take notes while it's happening.
Afterwards, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the sync watch. Wow. I
Yeah.
could not have thought of a more Gareth pick. I love this. I love this choice.
Like, I was cycling for all my favorite movies. Like, I actually have a notes app of movies I thought we could do across the show.
Oh, wow.
That, since like episode 2, that we've never done any of them.
Well, maybe we'll talk
yeah.
about them in a wrap-up show.
Yeah.
Maybe.
In
Oh,
memoriam.
I can't wait to get moving and do steps and jog and do all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
You know how fit everyone was in the 80s?
Yeah.
Ah.
There's nothing holding them back.
Yeah, and there was nothing holding you back, listener, this week as you wait patiently for that. And you check us out at SyncFloydPod on Twitter, SyncFloydPod on YouTube, SyncFloyd on Letterboxd, SyncFloydPod@gmail.com.
Yeah. NameMyGrandma.live.
Oh, that's still up.
There it is.
Go to that website. Eventually, that might be where we sell the Animals Are Sweet t-shirts. If anyone else wants them.
Yeah.
But until then, I've been Gareth Banther.
I've been... Oh, what? That's not fair. I've been James Barron, but in space.
Hey. And we'll see you on the dark side of that snow moon.
I don't know how it ends. I can't remember.
It's good jizz.
That's good, Jess. Oh, no.